Well, I think this would be very important. Part of the role of the feasibility study is really to answer some of these questions on the distribution side. How do you actually communicate and disseminate this wonderful information in a way that
you can have, yes, you can have it there, but, and I myself have done a lot with architecture education, but I don't want my book sitting on the shelf. It's not about books, but it's great with the internet is that we can do 3D models. You can go out there and really get it out to teachers, and but also the teacher themselves has to want to do it.
Sure.
Most teachers don't have that national history, and there's immigrant children, and they don't have the context. So,
yeah, no, what struck me today was the wealth of material that's already extant.
yes,
But for a guy like me, I'm a tech guy.
right.
I taught a little bit at college, but I don't know how to transliterate it to a 10-year-old kid. How do you get it? What is the? How do you focus this stuff to
Right.
what age
And that's
grade?
what the
And
teachers
that's what
do.
you guys
That's
do.
what the teachers do. I use the teachers and staff developers, people who are trained in how to work with teachers, because it's overwhelming to them. They go, how do I do that, how do I do that? And a lot of the, remember, most of the children, the 1.4 million in New York City,
Yeah,
may not have computers in their homes.
right.
They're immigrant children, or English is their second language. So how do you then help them, you know, I mean, I think of what their needs are,
Yeah,
but there's a lot of teachers who would just love what's here,
right.
and I think that it's their job to then, there's a way to then get it back into the classroom through these hands-on workshops.
Yeah.
And I've already put together, I thought, oh, this is a 2-week institute. You know, I've already thought in my mind how this could definitely translate. It's ready to actually become a workshop even before the building is there. You could actually try it out.
Your question earlier about, you know, what is going to resonate more in a classroom? Is it physical, not, you know, materials like you look at lens imagery or yours? Is it better for us to produce posters that teachers can
Yes.
post to the walls with, or is it better digitally? And that's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
In particular because, you know, I have both a 7th and an 8th grader myself, so, you know, I'm familiar with what's going on in those curriculums and what is and is not being done in actually a fairly affluent public school system. I'm blessed.
Yes.
But like they've got, you know, they'll have a $10,000 smart board set up in one of these classrooms that this stuff would be perfect for and would be awesome, except the teacher hasn't figured out how to use it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so like a workshop on how to integrate digital exhibits onto a smart board would be awesome, but you're not going to have that smart board in every single classroom. That's not realistic, especially not in some of the less advantaged school systems in New York City. So then the question of printed material and which parts of what we're doing make good printed material, that's a really
And do it
interesting
different
question.
ways. Actually, in so much of social studies is taught through textbooks, which are really the opposite of what everyone here is doing.
Right.
It is so dry and so conservative, and no mention of what was happening. I mean, children, if you interview them, would not know that there were Jews and blacks at that time. Really.
Never mind like the
Never
pirates
mind.
and the whole
I know.
thing.
So
How engaging.
we want to just open it up. I mean, it's all here, and it's, you know, it's great to be on this team, and I'm willing to, you know, to be the educator and the staff developer, and teachers would sign on to help too.
I don't know about teaching, but I was part of this commissioner's outreach program. They put us into the 4 communities and engagement. And it was some various stuff where kids would walk in and say, well, I don't know about history. But they just came from playing Darth Vader Star Wars games. This is Star Wars.
Yeah,
And they go, I can do that. It's just kids, little gangbangers. I can do that. Watch. And we're using translated military systems, and the kids relate to that.
Yes.
Then get it.
They're better at the computers than their teachers.
I can do that.
The other thing I thought of, because Chris was thinking of what, or a few other people, what's the most important thing, is that we don't know. If we can get that to me, to children, that they can become historians and explorers and keep figuring it out, and they continue this work after us, that it's a constant looking, there's no right or wrong. Through the testing, the problem is they think there's a right answer. And it's always this way. They can't believe those textbooks. And if you go one of those social studies conferences, the fairs with the textbook companies, I don't know, except for one or two, are pretty depressing, you know.
One of the Lynn's comment about picking this other map never occurred to me. But I was at the American Museum and my buddy Sid Orenstein, who's a geologist from New York City, said, I think it'd be interesting if you compared Costello in 3D with this guy in 3D. And it's not the either or, but the idea that these geospatial techniques put out on a platter to the kids, the idea of, you know, all that different possibilities, you know, and let them judge themselves using the technology instead of being told by me what's, you know.
The other thing we could do is, I think is very important, is to there's so little time for professional development to read every subject, is to really show that it's interdisciplinary, and I think that that's what everyone was saying. Because if you can read a document and do what historians do, and use this information, you're doing the reading and the writing, and your skills of problem solving, it's all there.
Well,
so that's the other thing you have to say.
What Joel's doing is all math.
Yes,
I mean,
all math.
There's no question. That's all geometry and math. So
that's great.
Totally
and geography,
Right.
which is so important.
Right.
So it's convincing them that, because it's always like reading and writing. You know, it's you do have a lot of pressures. I mean, I'm always saying, yes, New York City history is important. They always ask me why, and I have to convince them.
Right.
There really have been that many big books written on New York history. The only one that I can think of that covers the entire period is Kaplan, other than the document.
Yes, right. And we're pressuring Mike to keep going. It might be another 10 years, but he's working on 1890, you know, the next Gotham 2.
Oh, right, yes.
Yes, but 3 years was this also.
Yes, I heard him talk at Men for Marvel.
Yes.
5 to 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah. So we're pushing him to finish. We need Gotham 2.
Well, thank you very much. I would like to say, I think, we would like to continue the discussion about, as I mentioned, Workshop 2B, where we're going to actually reach out to the audience to try to get feedback. I'm not quite sure how to do that, but maybe you do. And
Yeah, I think
whatever thoughts you might have, I'd appreciate hearing about.
it's all there and ready. I mean, it could